This is Snake vs. Monkey. It was part of the original releases of Metal Gear Solid 3, including Subsistence, and has since been cut from every single re-release of MGS 3. But recently, it was announced that Snake vs. Monkey would be making its return in Metal Gear Solid Delta. In this game mode, you play as Solid Snake, who has been assigned by Colonel Campbell to capture all of the monkeys causing chaos in various maps from Snake Eater's main story. Doing so rewards you with the Monkey Mask for use in the main game, and if you beat all of the default record times for each stage, you also unlock the Banana Camo for use in Snake Eater. It's a fun and well thought out mode, but there's no denying it's also a bit silly. So with that in mind, why is its return such a big deal? First off, I think it's important to note that the Ape Escape series and IP are owned by Sony Interactive. While the series has been dormant for quite some time, there have been recent rumors hinting at either a long-awaited fourth installment or remasters for the PS5. Back when Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater first released, the third installment of Ape Escape had already been announced and planned for release in 2005. This led to the cross-promotion between Snake Eater and Ape Escape. As Metal Gear fans, we got Snake vs. Monkey, and Ape Escape fans got the lesser-known Metal Gear Solid, a minigame centered around playing as Peepo Snake, attempting to infiltrate various levels and survive multiple boss encounters. If you want to see some gameplay of it, I'll have my recent stream linked down in the description box below. The fact that Konami and Sony had to reach an agreement to bring Snake vs. Monkey back shows that Konami is actually putting in some real effort for Delta instead of just cashing in on a remake. We have to remember that literally every re-release of MGS 3 after the original PS2 versions and Subsistence had content cut from them. The Essential Collection, the HD and Legacy Collections, Snake Eater 3D, and most recently, the Master Collection. None of them had Snake vs. Monkey. Delta will now be the most complete version of Metal Gear Solid 3 we've had in 2 decades, and that's a huge deal. Even more interesting is the fact that Konami has created a new version of Snake vs. Monkey for Xbox users in the form of Snake vs. Bomberman. We don't know exactly what this mode will look like yet, whether it'll simply be a reskin of Snake vs. Monkey or an entirely different game mode. The fact that it even exists is promising. It suggests that Konami might actually be investing in Metal Gear again after years of dormancy. A while back, I made a video discussing why I believe Metal Gear Solid 4 will eventually make its way to modern platforms. One of the biggest obstacles is licensing issues. Many believe Konami is unwilling to renegotiate with the companies involved, but Snake vs. Monkey is real-life evidence that this might not be the case. As mentioned earlier, Konami had to negotiate with Sony to bring Snake vs. Monkey back. This proves that Konami is willing to work with third parties if it means restoring content that fans care about. While Metal Gear Solid 4 would undoubtedly be a much harder case due to the complexity of all the deals involved, this is still a promising sign. If they can renegotiate for Snake vs. Monkey, why not for Metal Gear Solid 4? This is why it's so important for us fans to stay vocal. Snake vs. Monkey returning shows us that Konami is willing to put in the effort, and if we push hard enough, maybe we'll see MGS 4 ported in the future. All of this also opens the door for more crossovers and collaborations. The Metal Gear series is no stranger to collabs. Most recently, we've seen Snake and even Raiden make their way over to Fortnite. But even way before that, we had Snake appearing in games like Super Smash Bros. And crossovers with other popular series, the most famous being the crossover between Monster Hunter and Metal Gear. I made a whole video about how influential that collaboration was on Metal Gear and on Kojima. I'll have that linked for you below. Essentially, these crossover events help bring tons of attention over to Metal Gear. With Monster Hunter and Metal Gear both getting new entries to their respective franchises this year, both fan bases are primed for a new collab. Konami doesn't even have to look externally for potential crossovers. Games like Metal Gear Online 2 featured accessories such as the Robbie the Rabbit helmet players could equip. As most of you know, this accessory is a nod to Silent Hill 3, and with the recent release of Silent Hill 2's remake, DLC from the Silent Hill franchise would fit right in as a way to cross-promote between their IP. Whether you see the appeal of crossovers with other games or not, there's no denying that they serve as a way to get Metal Gear out there in the gaming landscape. Metal Gear getting more recognition means more money for Konami and hopefully more well thought out and substantial content for us in their games. It's always nice to see developers and publishers adding content back in instead of continuously removing content. On that same note, another major point is the value Snake vs. Monkey adds to the overall package that is Delta. We have to talk about the rising costs of video games. $70 for a base game is already steep, especially in regions where it surpasses $100 USD. While many Metal Gear fans are willing to pay that for a remake of a beloved game, casual audiences may not be so easy to convince. Adding a bonus game mode like Snake vs. Monkey helps sweeten the deal. Even if you're not into chasing monkeys, you'll likely still want to engage with it if you're aiming for a platinum trophy or if you're aiming to unlock everything in Delta. It's safe to assume that the monkey mask and banana camo will return, giving players a practical incentive to complete the mode. And who knows, maybe they'll even add online leaderboards to encourage replayability. Competing with friends or the global player base would instantly add more value to the mode. But what excites me the most is that Snake vs. Monkey's return could signal something even bigger. With Snake vs. Monkey returning, many fans, including myself, are wondering if MGO could make a comeback too. There have been subtle hints toward it. When Delta was first announced, IGN Japan asked a Konami representative if fan-favorite modes like MGO would return, and Konami's response was simply, no comment. Additionally, Konami recently mentioned MGO directly in one of their production hotline videos. Could MGO be making a comeback alongside Snake vs. Monkey? Maybe. And if it does, it would be a huge win for the community. Despite Metal Gear Online 3 servers still being online, the game is practically dead. If you can believe it, the MGO2 fan-made servers usually have more of a player base than the official MGO3 servers do. With that in mind, there could be other cut content Konami could be bringing back instead of Metal Gear Online. Modes such as Boss Duel, which had you fighting against Snake Eater's bosses and encounters in a gauntlet-style mode, or even something like a new Secret Theater, which put the cast of Metal Gear Solid 3 in some ridiculous and hilarious scenarios. We won't know exactly what this mysterious and more actually is until Konami unveils it, presumably during the next production hotline video. Whatever it may be, I'm glad we're getting more than just Snake Eater's story mode. At the end of the day, what Snake vs. Monkey represents is bigger than just some silly game mode. It's evidence that Konami is putting in effort, something we haven't seen from them in over a decade. They've gone out of their way to restore cut content, renegotiate licensing deals, and even create new content like Snake vs. Bomberman. It's on us as fans to keep that momentum going. Keep expressing your desire for Metal Gear Online, Metal Gear Solid 4, and more beloved content to return, because clearly, Konami is finally listening. I recently made a video explaining why Snake Eater is considered the fan favorite Metal Gear game. If you're interested, I'll have that video linked here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.